Going on, good people? I haven't done a live random driving around update in a while live with you guys, so sorry about that. I wanted to jump on here and talk about a few of the news and notes going around news wires right now. Things like Kenyan Drake in a walking boot, Mike Davis looking good, and like the backup in Carolina. Make sure you grab him if you need to back him up. He's a viable backup, and he's being used heavy in practice, and they like him all over the field. If something happened to Christian McCaffrey, I think we finally do have a cuff for the McCaffmeister. Now, Kenyan Drake, I get it. Okay, you want to walk away from Kenyan Drake. I understand why. Okay, but I'm not doing it. I'm not sticking to my guns because I'm stubborn. I'm not saying that Kenyan Drake's going to be a top 5 to 10 running back because I've already said it before, and so I'm going to continue to beat the drum because I'm too stubborn to be wrong. I firmly believe he will be a top 5 to 10 running back, but what I've told you all offseason long is you have to cuff Edmonds to Kenyan Drake. You have to. You have to cuff Cook to Madison. There's a lot of buzz about Dalvin Cook right now. Will his contract become an issue? Adam Schefter said, who we want to take very, very seriously whenever he reports anything on a player or on the NFL. Very reliable source. He said that he would have paused drafting Dalvin Cook in fantasy because of the contract situation, that if they don't come up with something by the start of the season, that he's going to enter in a pretty risky territory for finishing out his year after, 8 games he could play to get eligibility. A lot of talk about that right now. But what's the answer? The answer is Madison. Madison's a top 6 to 10 running back if starting for the Vikings. Very simple solution to drafting Cook. You draft Cook, you draft Madison. You draft Drake, you draft Edmonds. You don't always cuff everybody. Not everybody is a guaranteed cuff. Just like I didn't cuff McCaffrey until recently. I didn't care. The answer is Madison. The answer is Madison. Dalvin Cook and Madison together is safer than Jacobs. Dalvin Cook alone without Madison versus Jacobs is an argument to be had. You could argue that Jacobs is safer. You could. I'm not saying I take him because I'm going to reach for Madison. I've already done enough drafts where I've drafted Cook and Madison. I don't know that I'm going to draft Cook again because I already own him in like 7 leagues out of my 22 leagues I think I'm doing. I'm going to go Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the remainder of any drafts where I'm on the clock and I've got a choice between Clyde and Cook. I've done enough Cook drafting. I've cuffed them like crazy. I think I have the cuff in every single league I have Cook in. I don't think I have just Cook in any one league. I believe I have Cook and Madison in every league that I have drafted Dalvin Cook. I've reached like a son of a bitch too, but I don't care because it was that important. Elliott and Pollard, same thing. If you draft Elliott and you don't draft Tony Pollard, you should be ashamed of yourself. Thank you, Dried Ocean. I love all you guys. Anyone here who CMC cuff is? All right, dude, I just talked about that. Watch the beginning of this. Mike Davis. He's the guy. Cuff him. He looks good. He's the man. What's up? Yo, Smitty, your league just got canceled. Any follower leagues? I have got one for you, T-Man. T-Man, DM me on Instagram right now. T-Man, I'm going to get you in my it might be a 25 or 50-man league where there's going to be multiple copies of players, just like the 96 team league, but it's going to be a super rookie only league, meaning you can only draft rookies and sophomores. You can't draft anybody else, and it's called the super rookie rankings league or whatever. I'll get you in that, T-Man, so DM me on Instagram right now and remind me. What was I talking about? Drake, Tony Pollard, and Elliott. You have to cuff the two. You have to. Kamara and Madison, you have to cuff the two. Now, is there a for sure cuff in every situation? No. But even Eckler and Kelly, you got to draft Kelly if you're going to draft Eckler. It's not that cuffs are the answer. It's specific cuffs are the answer. Specific running back cuffs can be super running backs. Even in KC, I'm cuffing the top two backup running backs to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And if anybody thinks that's crazy, you don't realize how potent that Kansas City offense is and that whoever's in there is going to deliver. So Kansas City is one of the biggest cuffing situations I think you want to find yourself in if you're in the cuffing business like I am. I like cuffing. I'm a big advocate of cuffing. It's got to be the right cuff, though. So Kenyan Drake, not worried. Not worried. He was in a walking boot. He's got a few tweets out there or whatever where he's like, I was in a walking boot last year. Like, it's not a big deal. It's nicks and bruises. It doesn't seem to appear to be anything unless they're lying to us. It's something small. I wouldn't worry about Kenyan Drake at all. If you're already worried about him getting banged up and you were going to avoid him anyway, this probably pushed you over the edge. But you know what? That's good because any late drafts I'm in, now I get Kenyan Drake at even better value. Now I don't have to spend a number 10 overall on Kenyan Drake. You could probably get Kenyan Drake at 14 or 15 overall if you're drafting today, tomorrow, and the next day because people are going to freak out about Kenyan Drake. I've seen him fall into the second round, and I'm doing a lot of drafts right now. I've got like 4 going on right now. Most of them are through round 4 or round 3 now. But in all of those recent drafts that I've done in the past 24 to 48 hours, where Kenyan Drake was on the clock and gone, Kenyan Drake lasted into the second round, I believe, in all 4 of those recent drafts. So this news is real, man. It's making people react. And Kenyan Drake in the second round is low risk. You don't have to worry about much, especially if you cuff him to Edmonds. Now, the news about Drake in the walking boot is going to definitely bump up the value of Edmonds. So you got to overpay and reach for Edmonds, but it's a locked and loaded running back too. I'm excited about Kenyan Drake's devaluing with this news. I'm fine with it. Are you a fan of Melvin Gordon? Absolutely. I love Melvin Gordon this year. He's the only running back in the NFL that has 4 straight seasons of over 40 receptions and 8 touchdowns or more in 4 straight years. The only running back active in the NFL, 40 plus receptions and 8 plus touchdowns or more. There's no other running back that has that streak going. A lot of momentum coming into Denver for Melvin Gordon, despite all the, he didn't look great last year. He had 40 plus receptions and 8 TDs. So he kept his streak alive on a year where he didn't even play the whole year. So Melvin Gordon did absolutely fantastic last year if you look at that. So I don't get the Melvin Gordon doubt at all when you look at the numbers. And he's walking into a system that wants him to be the guy. You can say Lindsey's going to take a whole bunch away from him. Be my guest and draft Lindsey. I don't mind cuffing the two, but the bottom line is they don't bring Gordon in to have him be a backup. And in a worst case scenario, he has some kind of divide going with Lindsey, which Lindsey's going to spell him. Lindsey could have 120 carries. That's not a big deal. You want to keep Melvin healthy. But in a worst case scenario, if Melvin Gordon divides his rushes on first and second down the middle, but gets almost all the PPR work, he's getting well over 60% of the volume. Well over. That's all he needs. I don't get how anybody's worried about Melvin Gordon's workload in that offense. They're going to run the hell out of those running backs. Eckler or Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones isn't even close to Eckler, in my opinion, Jake. You're talking about Aaron Jones, who had 19 touchdowns last year. 19 touchdowns. Jake, that was his big year. We won't see Aaron Jones have a bigger year than he had last year. And guess how many yards he got on his big year during his chance? The year that Green Bay leaned on him like holy hell. He only had 10, I believe 84 off the top of my head. 1084. Barely 1,000 yards on his 19 touchdown season. Had he not gotten those touchdowns, he would not have been a beast all year. And Jake, he was on my top 10 bold predictions. I believe I had him number 7 or number 8. So if anybody, you can't find somebody that had a bolder prediction on Aaron Jones than I did. And I'm telling you to avoid him in 2020 at the cost you're talking about, which is Eckler and Aaron Jones as parallels. Hell no. Jones in the 3rd round, pair him to A.J. Dillon. Okay, now we're talking. Guys, handcuffs are so important this year. You have analysts out there telling you that handcuffs are garbage. Don't waste your time on handcuffs. You can just draft a better player. Handcuffs are going to be critical in the COVID-19 season. This will be coined and looked back upon as the COVID year, the year of the COVID, however you want to coin it. The year of the COVID is going to be vital. In hindsight, you're going to look back and go, why didn't I cuff that guy? Why didn't I cuff Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon? It was so easy to do. And A.J. Dillon's going to score 8 touchdowns as a rookie and fill in for Aaron Jones. Let's say he starts 4 games and is a beast down the stretch, and you didn't cuff A.J. Dillon because you wanted to draft another wide receiver, your 5th or 6th wide receiver that you'll never freaking use, or a backup tight end or whatever, and you miss out on cuffing Aaron Jones. If you draft Aaron Jones, you got to get A.J. Dillon. If you draft Eckler, you got to get Kelly. This is a COVID year. Cuffs are more important than ever. And not every cuff works, but a lot of cuffs this year line up, and they make sense. Umberger with the super. Did I lose the trade in our league yesterday? What's the trade Umberger posted? Mark Cleveland with the super chat. Would you rather pick 3 or 5 to move up the second? I'd rather have 3. I don't know that I've ever, in the last 5-6 years, ever said I've liked pick 2 better than pick 1, that I've liked pick 3 better than pick 2, that I've liked pick 4 better than pick 3, that I've liked pick 5 better than pick 4. Once you get right smack in the middle, like around pick 6, pick 7, that's when it could turn a little bit for me, but always rather have number 1 overall. I don't care if my picks would be closer in the second round. I don't care. There's so much talent. The talent drop-off is about 3.4, 3.3. The talent drop-off is not like at 24 overall. So it could vary from year to year, but I absolutely love Kittle, Kelsey, Golladay. Mike Evans is my favorite turn player right now. I love Mike Evans as my 3rd drafted player at the top of the 3rd round. I predict that Mike Evans starts going ahead of Godwin within 1 week. And part of that's going to be that I'm driving this home. Mike Evans is going to be a top 2 to 5 wide receiver in 2020. You heard it here. Mike Evans, I'm on board. I'm so on board. I was so tempted to make that adjustment in my rankings anyway. And just seeing him connect with Brady, I'm all in on Mike Evans. Brady, Mike Evans, Godwin. I love having the 3. The trio is fantastic. The trio makes me happy. I'm excited about owning 3 guys on one team. I love when people say, oh, what about your bye week? What about your bye week, Smitty? You bet you didn't think of that. Like something my mom would say. Yeah, I haven't put any thought into the fact that I'd have 3 guys on a bye week in 1 week. Give me the bye in 1 week. I'd rather lose 1 week. I'll still find a way to win it, but I'd rather lose 1 week than bleed out all year. Like, I never understand why people are worried about having all the buys in 1 week. Give me all the buys in 1 week. I love it. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have 1 loss and beat the hell out of everybody for the remainder of the season. Give me 1 loss. It's absolutely hilarious. Bye weeks mean nothing to me, other than like your backup quarterback. Bye weeks mean nothing to me. I don't even look at bye weeks other than looking at my quarterback, or to make sure I don't have all 6 of my running backs on the same bye. I could give 2 shits if all my star players are out 1 week. It doesn't matter at all to me. Hit the thumbs up on the way in. We got 50 people watching. Only 7 people have wiped their feet at the door. Umberger, what was the trade? Let's see. Saquon, Kittle, AJ Green for Hopkins, Gurley, Bell. Saquon and Kittle for Hopkins, Gurley, Bell. I mean, God, that's a hard one to break down because I don't know who you have as fill-ins, and your fill-ins might be, better than AJ Green and not that far off from Odell Beckham Jr., so I don't know. But I'd probably rather have Saquon and Kittle and AJ Green. But that isn't to say that if your bench couldn't weather through, like the losses of those Yeah, that's a tough one. Like if Odell is an upgrade from some scrub, then I could see that scoring more points. I don't think you got worked or anything. Um, but I definitely think I'd rather go Saquon and Kittle and find my bench players in my lineup than to worry about losing those guys. So just got my first share of Hollywood. Atta baby Nicholas. Give me Debo for Edelman. No, thank you. I'd rather have Debo. Just pick Djax off waivers. That's okay. Straight up, I don't know about buy coordination because ultimately you're going to have one or two difficult weeks. I'd rather have it all in 1 week. And if I don't, I'm okay too. I don't care. I don't draft based on buy. Are you like I want to just like punch myself in the face when someone says, "Hey, would you rather have this guy or that guy?" And you'd rather have this guy over here, but you're going to actually take the other guy because of a bye week. Like, that's the worst decision ever. I love this guy. He's going to have a better year. But I think because it's a bye week, I'm going to select the other guy. It's like, dude, take the best player available. Throw bye weeks. Take it out of your mind. Don't even think about buys. Buys have nothing to do with anything. Unless you're backup quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks. Or if you're worried about a backup like and you have a tight end, you take 2 tight ends. Normally I take 1 and figure out something on the bye week. Depends on the draft. But holy crap, why do people worry about bye weeks? It's absolutely asinine to me. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thinking to take another player over a player you think is going to be better because of a bye week. Or to not take Godwin and Evans because you're worried about having 2 players in the same team. That makes sense in a lot of scenarios where the offense is limited. Okay? Like, and I like Detroit, and I think Galladay is going to freaking ball out, top 5 to 7 wide receiver in 2020. But I don't like Galladay and Marvin Jones as much at all. You know, like I would never draft them together. But hell to the yeah, am I drafting Godwin, Evans, and Tom Brady all on one team. Every single time I see a chance to do it, I will do it. Why? Because the offense will ball out. Bruce Arians will ball the hell out all year long. They will throw. And I know what you're saying, but Smitty, they're going to be more efficient. It's not going to be the same. There's no way Brady can make those throws. There's no way that Brady can deliver the ball to Evans and Godwin when they're more efficient. Let me tell you something. Tom Brady's going to make that defense better. That defense is going to get better anyway. They've upgraded some areas, and they're going to get better. Why do you think New England was so good? Under the radar good. They face Tom Brady in practice every day. The GOAT himself. Tampa Bay will have a better defense, an effective offense scoring quickly and well and often will make the other defense wear out. Therefore, Tom Brady will be on the field a whole hell of a lot. When does a great offense limit your ability to score points? Are you kidding me? Who is feeding people this garbage? Brady is going to ball out in 2020. He has Godwin, Evans, Vaughn, Gronk. He has all the weapons he could need. As good an offense you could argue as the Randy Moss days. He has 2 top 5 to 6 wide receivers at his disposal, and both of them are going to have amazing, amazing years. I cannot wait, and I hope more people do what I'm doing. Draft Godwin and Brady, Evans and Brady, in where you can, where it makes sense, and where it's smart. Evans, Godwin, and Brady together. The beautiful part about Evans, Godwin, and Brady together is none of that's costing you anything but a second, a third, and a 7th or 8th round pick. That means you could put Barkley with those 2. That means you can put McCaffrey or Elliott or Cook or Clyde with those 2. I absolutely love it. And I'm drafting Gronk if I can. I don't care. In an offense like Tampa where you throw, there will be very limited outings where that offense doesn't produce a ton of fantasy points. I'm taking that bet. I'll take my lumps. When Tampa has a bad game, I might lose my week. Maybe. I'll still fill my team up with a whole bunch of other good players, though. I'll still have a Barkley or whoever, because if you draft Barkley and Godwin or Elliott and Godwin and you take Evans and you take Brady, you still have a lot of firepower. You can still potentially weather through a so-so Tampa Bay game, but all the people doubting Brady because he's older. He looked good last year, regardless of being limited in that offense. He still watch the film. If you think he can't throw anymore, watch the film. He can throw 45, 50-yard passes with ease. He looks good right now, smooth, well-oiled machine in practice, throwing in the ball, delivering it to Mike Evans with authority. Mike Evans is going to ball. Kittle or Evans, Umberger. I'm going to go, God, that's close. I'm going Evans, bro. I'm going Evans. I'm changing directions on Evans a lot, real fast. I mean, I liked him a lot. I was still taking him in the third round, but I'm changing directions really quickly. Evans, man. Adjust and adapt or get left behind. Evans is the number one wide receiver in Tampa this year. I love Godwin. Godwin's still going to ball. I probably draft Godwin ahead of Evans because that way I can get both. You got to be smart. You can't draft guys too high, but I will in the right situation where I think I won't get both. I might take Evans ahead of Godwin. If I think I can get both, I might draft Godwin first just to get both because Godwin won't fall. Am I worried about Drake? I talked about that. Replay this video at the end because I talk about Drake. I'm not worried. He says he's fine. He's in a walking boot. Sometimes you do that just to lessen the bruises, the bumps. Like, walking boot doesn't always equate to a serious injury. A lot of people that have serious injuries will be in walking boots, and sometimes people that don't will be in walking boots. Don't always associate a walking boot is anything more than what is being reported as. Don't just assume it means it's like an awful situation. Guys are asking a lot of good questions. A lot of questions are rolling in. So if I missed you, I'm not ignoring you. Please don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm trying to scroll through here. Brady is 42, LOL. Mark doesn't like Brady because he's old. Is that what you're saying, Mark? Dried Ocean says the same thing. Who cares how old he is? He's efficient still. He's efficient. There have been quarterbacks that have been 42 years old that have been able to throw the football still. 42 when you're Tom Brady doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot to me. What's a bye week, says Nicholas. Absolutely. Never draft a QB early, says Dried Ocean. Get out of here, Dried Ocean! I'm taking Tom Brady in the 7th and 8th, and I love it, but I do love myself some Mahomes and Lamar. It's hard for me to pass a Mahomes or Lamar if they ever fall to me. If they don't, then I go Brady. If they don't, then I go Breeze and Brady. I go A-Rod and Brady. Brady's my starter, but I mean, I double up. If Brady doesn't work out, I'm going to have myself an amazing backup, top 6 to 10 backup. Aaron Rodgers is not done. He's 36 years old, people, and a chip on his shoulder. If there's anybody in the entire league that you want playing with a chip on their shoulder, if there's any quarterback in the entire league you want love being drafted to sit there and put a spark under Aaron Rodgers instead of making Aaron Rodgers look over his shoulder, Aaron Rodgers is going to play pissed as hell. And if there's anybody that knows how to play from behind when the pressure's on, it's the comeback maniac, Aaron Rodgers. I love that people think that Love's going to put pressure on him and he's going to, like, what, choke? You kidding me? Yeah, Brady's got a chip on his shoulder, too. People calling him old, saying he can't do it. Burrow's ceiling as a rookie, Burrow's going to struggle more than people want to hear, but he'll show flashes of brilliance. Burrow's going to be a potential top 6 to 10 fantasy QB, but give him time. Look at Danny Dimes. If you want to know what I think the rookie year is going to look like for Burrow, it's Danny Dimes last year as a rookie. Going to do really well, show flashes of brilliance, going to do really bad, going to have mistakes, plays for the Bengals. This is not an offense he's walking into where he's got the best weapons in the world. A lot of 8-man fronts, making that offense unable to run the ball, much like they did at the beginning of the year last year. So I don't like Mixon at anywhere near 11 to 14 overall value where he's getting bought too high. And I've said that from the rooftops all offseason. Don't buy Mixon in 2020. He vanished for the first half of the year in 2019. He could vanish again in 2020 because they will stack the box and say, let the rookie beat me. Let the rookie beat me. And Burrow may on some occasions. Burrow will look good on some occasions, but Burrow will struggle on others. Mark with the super chat. Where would you take Aaron Jones? Third round. No higher than third round. 19 touchdowns on his biggest year he's ever had. Green Bay leaned on him. Then you look at the numbers and you say 1084. Green Bay leaned on him and he only had 1,000 yards, barely cracked 1,000 yards. Hey, who's your starter this off? Who's your starter? It's got to be Aaron Jones, right? We're going to run multiple backs. They never commit to him. They draft. It's got to worry you. If you take Aaron Jones in the third round, acceptable value or risk given the value, cuff him to A.J. Dillon. You have to have the duo. Then I'm okay with Aaron Jones, but I do not take him in the second round. No way at all. Where does Mahomes fall for you? Round 3. Somebody tell Michael that I would never let Mahomes fall to round 3. Actually, I did in the Throne League because I knew my opponents. I knew that they might let him fall. He fell to 3.6, bro, and I hit a home run with that. Our Throne team is so amazing thanks to a lot of you followers that are in here right now that helped us draft that team. In the Throne League, you draft my team. I influence it. I go to bat. I tell you who I want. You guys go to the vote. I take the vote. I draft the player. But 8 times out of 10, I won't let Mahomes fall past 2.12. Hell no. I'd rather take him and take Evans later than worry about trying to get Mahomes a few spots later, maybe losing him and getting a wide receiver that I like Mike Evans as much over that wide receiver. So give me Mahomes and Evans in rounds 2 and 3. I'm happy as can be because of the walking boot. The risk is awesome there. The upside versus risk is awesome in the second round for Drake. So Drake or Eckler, I'd consider, if the players weren't falling right, which they will, because I think they definitely will, then I could go Kelsey or Kittle at the end of the second round. But I'm loving the recipe for success this year is Evans in round 3, Mahomes or Lamar in round 3, or at the end of round 2. Drake or Eckler, should they fall. I love those. It feels like a recipe to dominate. Smitty, what are your thoughts on Vaughn now? I like Vaughn, but as a stash and grab. He's not going to do anything right away. Akers or Taylor, Dried Ocean. I probably won't even draft Akers, man. I'm staying clear away from that disaster. I mean, I'd draft him, but not where people are drafting him. Taylor seem to trust him, but by midseason, Taylor could be a tight 10 running back. But how long does it take him to get going? So you got to be careful where you take Taylor. Like Jonathan Taylor and redraft at the right spot. We're talking 4th round, 4th drafted player. If you have to draft him in the 3rd, it's okay if it's a late 3rd, or you can sure up your 4th player, get a guy that you would have maybe drafted in the 3rd round, but in the 4th round you drafted him. So like Taylor and A.J. Brown as a 3rd and 4th rounder, I could be okay with that versus going, a different wide receiver in the 3rd than Taylor. If you've got to reach for Taylor, running backs are thinning out. Make sure that 4th round pick is a solid, player, not another big risk. Would be my advice. All right, guys, I got to go for now. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for the super chat. You guys rock. If I missed anybody else that super chat, actually, I'll let you see it before I end it. It's being worked on right now. The studio. Let me see if I flip the camera around. Later.